Obviously, we're all really excited for Nintendo Switch 2 and that April 2nd Direct coming up. Also, the rumored Switch 1 Direct next month, Pokemon Day, all that. There's a lot to be excited about. And look, the floodgates are truly going to open from April 2nd onward. They got all those in-person events. There's going to be lots of announcements and lots of stuff. Look, I'm really excited, obviously, for Nintendo Switch 2. And today, we have some great news to bring you about the performance of the system and a game developer putting minds at ease over the supposed concerns about a CPU bottleneck with Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding. So we got to dive into that as a big article over at WCCF Tech went over some stuff. And then we have kind of a fun one here. It's possible a retailer selling Nintendo Switch eShop cards are teasing 2 unannounced really big Nintendo games. And it's more of a for fun conversation because I'm not so sure they actually know these things, but they are there. They are listed on the website. So we're going to talk about it just for fun. They also might be likely. We'll see. First, though, I want to remind you we're on our road to 140,000. You know what? Can we just, I know we're not at 140,000 yet. Can we just skip that and go to 150? I think we should start talking about 150,000 subscribers. If you are excited, as I am, to keep driving this channel to bigger heights and bring you more and more Nintendo Switch 2 goodness, go ahead and subscribe right here at Nintendo Prime. And let's go ahead and head over to WCCF Tech. Really big tech website. And it says Nintendo Switch 2 CPU will not be a cause of concern for new games and ports. Porting PS5 games will be easier than porting PS4 games to the original Switch. Now that's interesting. So, Nintendo Switch 2 CPU will not be a massive problem for ports and multi-platform games, as additional optimization work will get these games running decently on the system. Famiboards user Madigan, who is a known developer who has worked in the video game industry for a long time and provided some valuable insights in the past, recently commented on the newly revealed system, highlighting how the Switch 2 CPU, while being the part that deviates the most from the standard set by the system overall, is not going to be a cause for concern for developers, as no one making a Switch 2 game from the ground up is complaining about it. And again, he would know, he's in the industry. The only small complaints have come from developers working on ports, and notice he said small complaints, which will apparently require a bit more CPU optimization work compared to how relatively easy graphical resources can scale to the GPU. This additional CPU optimization work, however, isn't anything that shouldn't be expected going from a power-hungry x86 to a mobile ARM CPU. So, for the time being, the system CPU shouldn't be an impediment, and as a whole, porting a PlayStation 5 game to the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be much easier than porting a PlayStation 4 game to the original Switch, which is great news, like really great news. The fact that porting games to Switch 2 should be easier than porting games to its predecessor is definitely great news, as it should allow third-party developers to support the system with ease. Very few games have been confirmed for the new Nintendo consoles. According to rumors, plenty of big publishers are looking to support the console heavily, such as Microsoft, who is reportedly working on ports of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Diablo 4, Fallout 4, and even Starfield. According to a recent report, basically every third-party developer is considering supporting the system with their most ambitious AAA titles, and that goes back to a video by PH Brazil. Now, yeah, guys, there it is. Like, it's pretty obvious at this point that Nintendo Switch 2 is going to get amazing third-party support. Is it going to get literally everything? Look, it's hard to say that definitively, but it's going to get most things. And I feel like third-party developers don't want to miss out on Nintendo Switch 2 this time around. They view it as a core platform for their business with an audience that they could really appeal to. Now, I am going to warn these third-party publishers, you better not bring broken games. That's the one thing Nintendo fans absolutely hate. We don't like supporting games that are fundamentally broken that need to be fixed later with patches. Ubisoft has been seeing this the hard way with all the negativity around their games and them being broken at launch. So I'm just warning you guys, if you're going to bring your games to Switch 2, they better run decently, they better look all right, and they better not be filled with a bunch of game-breaking bugs, because we will respond by not buying those games. And I know you might go, but Nate, Nintendo fans bought Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, I know. Pokemon's a little bit of an exception. And if they keep making those broken Pokemon games, they will eventually see a dip in sales. It is going to affect them if they keep releasing broken games, as more and more consumers start to not trust them and get annoyed. So that is an issue for the Pokemon Company. That is not an issue for Nintendo games overall. Now, That being said, now we have a for fun conversation because of a retailer who's, selling eShop cards for 2025. Like all the retailers are selling eShop cards. For some reason, this one lists games that you could buy in 2025 with your eShop cards. Why? I don't know. But here we are over at Newegg. It says 2025 games. So you can buy your 10, 20, 35, and 50. You can't even buy the $100 one. But it says 2025 games. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. A new 3D Mario, which has yet to be confirmed. Get this one. A Legend of Zelda remake / remaster. Wait, what? That hasn't been announced either. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition and Pokemon Legends ZA. So 3 of those games are obviously known. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Legends ZA, and Xenoblade Chronicles X. But the 3D Mario game hasn't been shown or announced. The new Mario Kart, I guess I skipped over that, but I mean, look, they'd already teased the new Mario Kart in the Switch 2 trailer. And then a Legend of Zelda remake or remaster. Again, not currently announced. Now, we could get that Legend of Zelda remake or remaster announced in the February Direct that's rumored to happen for Switch 1, especially if it's something like the Wind Waker HD. But what if it's a full-on remake, like an Ocarina of Time remake? That actually might be a Switch 2 game, not a Switch 1 game. So I do find that to be interesting. And then 3D Mario. Like, does Newegg really know that 3D Mario is releasing this year? Some people think if there is a 3D Mario, it might not come out till like around the time the movie comes out in April or March of next year. But who knows? What I will say is I do find it funny that they're teasing games that Nintendo never announced. And they're using it to sell eShop gift cards, which you can't refund. So they're selling eShop gift cards on the premise of 2 games that aren't even announced yet. Not even teased. Like, technically Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart's not announced. It's just been teased. Those games haven't even been teased. 3D Mario hasn't been teased. A Zelda remake or remaster hasn't been teased. But obviously, this is going to lead to people talking. And I think it's a fun conversation. When we're talking about the hypotheticals of a new 3D Mario, it came up in my live stream last night. A lot of people bring it up like, hey, I want this to be like this big open world thing. Some people want it to be Galaxy 3. Some people want it to be Odyssey 2. I don't think it's going to be Odyssey 2 or Galaxy 3. I'm also not 100% sure it's going to be like this full open world game taking after Bowser's Fury. But who knows? As for the Zelda remake or remaster, look, obviously, if you're going to make bets, like if this is a betting show, the money line bets are going to be on Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, but those have been kind of the bets for years, and yet Twilight Princess and Wind Waker still aren't here. So interesting. We also have all that evidence that Eiji Aonuma has been kind of teasing Ocarina of Time's getting remade. That doesn't mean that's this year. Could be next year. But so there's that floating out there too. So those are kind of the 3 that people are leaning into. Some would like to see actually Twilight Princess get remade from the ground up. And can I blame them? Look at this Wii U tech demo. This Wii U tech demo that was showing out the capabilities of Wii U was built around the Twilight Princess graphical engine, but then just souped up to the extreme. And I gotta say, it's 2025. That Wii U tech demo still looks pretty damn good. I know, there's some techniques and stuff in it that are a bit old, and obviously I would assume it would look way better today, but I'm also kind of hoping that art direction is what they use for the next 3D Zelda game, because that would help it stand out from the current art direction of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Although I do love the art direction in those games, and if they continue with that art direction, I'm fine, but I think if you want to make it look distinct, and Zelda's known to change its art direction all the damn time, I think you go in this direction. Of course, maybe they decide to go full Wind Waker cell shading style. Who the hell knows what Nintendo Zelda team is cooking? All I know is I'm going to be there day 1. If I can help it, I'll be there day before 1 if I can get a review copy and or Nintendo can invite me out to some preview event. But we're talking about a hypothetical that's now like 3-4 years away. Let's just focus on the Switch 2 this year. I'm really excited to see that it looks like ports aren't going to be a problem and we shouldn't have to worry about that sort of stuff moving ahead. I'm also excited that developers seem excited. Like that's the big thing I see is we have that one developer from Sungrad Studios telling us about all the techniques he's seen in Mario Kart 9 and how that stuff is making him feel like Switch 2 is actually a significant leap over Switch 1 and why that game literally would not be on Switch 1. And then on top of that, now we have another developer coming out and speaking very well about making games Switch 2 and all the things they're hearing inside the industry. I have my personal developer friend who hears that everyone seems to be really excited inside this big AAA studio about Switch 2. The general sentiment around Switch 2 from game developers is they are excited, which is not what we were hearing with Nintendo Switch in 2017. We were hearing a lot of trepidation, a lot of laughter, even mocking of the Nintendo Switch. If you guys remember some E3 interviews in 2017, there were a number of developers laughing and mocking the Nintendo Switch when anyone brought up the idea of bringing their game to Switch. They seemed to think it was a joke. And the interviewer was actually asking a serious question because it was a hot ticket item and they weren't even considering it. That is not the case today. Almost every developer is now at least considering Switch 2, if not deliberately targeting Switch 2. So I think that that's just exciting news. Hey, and I got to take the developers at their word when they're saying it's easier to bring PS5 games to Switch 2 than it is to bring PS4 to Switch 1. I gotta believe that. We've already have rumors out there about things like Final Fantasy Rebirth, which is a PS5 exclusive game coming to Switch 2 next year. Well, that can't happen if it's not possible to port it in a very good way. So we'll have to see. I'm just gonna sit back and see what happens. I'm gonna probably be happy with Switch 2 no matter what because it's gonna get Nintendo cooking. Nintendo's gonna be cooking, man. Imagine what that Zelda team's going to do. Imagine what Monolith Soft is going to do. Those teams are going to absolutely cook on this platform. Hell, the 3D Mario team's probably going to cook as well because they seem to always cook. All right, guys. I am Nathaniel Elvejans from Nintendo Prime. Hope I see you tonight on the Nintendo Byte podcast. It's going to be a banger of a show. We got some great topics to go over. Some Switch 2. One of them not Switch 2, actually. A very interesting topic on Switch 1. That I feel like is going to generate some really, really great conversations with our podcast crew and maybe even great conversations in the live chat on the show. So I hope you guys all tune in for that. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Elvejans from Nintendo Prime, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.